Go to Denmark, they teach in Danish. Go to Norway, they teach in Norwegian. Go to Sweden, they teach in Swedish. Go to Finland, they teach in Finnish. Go to Korea, they teach in Korean. Go to China, they teach in Chinese. Go to Japan, they teach in Japanese. Then they meet the world. But you and me, here I am waxing eloquent in English. We were told that all the education we had acquired meant nothing. So that if you are eloquent in Ga or in Chui, you are not intelligent. You are only intelligent in English. You can only be intelligent in French, in Portuguese. We now know that that is nonsense. When that great Nigerian musician in the 1980s, fella Nicola Pokuti said, "Teacher, don't teach me nonsense," he meant it. He was reminding us that we must examine our education system. You know, when the British came here and they were establishing schools across Africa, and then when they were establishing Achimota, which is famous for producing great Ghanaians, the intention was to produce young men and women who would support the colonial empire. The intention was the same in Uganda with Budo's King's College. It was the same in Kenya with the Alliance schools. As Chinua Achebe says, the white man was clever. He came and put a knife in the things that held us together, and things fall apart. That we have now become famous for producing graduates in agriculture, some of whom, if you allow me a little latitude and hyperbole, cannot distinguish between a goat and a sheep. When we want to build our roads, we have engineers, most of whom today, if you do not address them as engineers so-and-so, they rise up, ready to beat you up. But yet, when we are building our highway from Accra through to Winneba, through to Cape Coast, through to La Côte d'Ivoire, it is the Chinese that I see, which calls into question, what type of engineering are we teaching? We are producing doctors, and they are good, some of them. But yet, when those of us who have the ability are sick, unless they do not know, they want to be airlifted to Dubai and to Germany. They have no faith in our medical system. When we are sick during COVID, all Africa is crying to America, "Oh, give us Moderna, give us Pfizer," to the Russians, "give us Sputnik." We are crying. Yet we have universities with professors in medicine. We must re-examine our education system, even in matters as mundane as sports, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The United States of America offers our young men and women scholarships to study sports. Our universities don't. Football is a multi-billion-dollar industry. But yet, when one of the masters of ceremony was speaking in jest, it is not the anthem of Asante Kotoko that he remembered, but that of Liverpool, "We shall not walk alone." Theosagiefo was right when he said, we may actually solve the economic problem. We may even solve the political problem. But I dare say that the mental problem which was impacted and makes us feel inferior will take a little longer to solve. In 1933, Carter G. Woodson, that African-American educator writing in his book, Miseducation of the Negro, said that we have been so miseducated for so long. Our self-esteem has been undermined for so long. We have been made to use the back door for so long that even when we are told to use the front door, we look for the back door, and if we can't find it, we create our own back door. The level of our miseducation is amazing. We must change it in order to enter into the 21st century. Today, if I stood here and asked young Africans, and there is no shortage of them here, how many African authors do you know? And I asked, which is the last book of Chinua Achebe that you read? Or Kofi Awunur? Or Aikwe Yama? Or Kamara Lai? Or Flora Nwapa? Or Dambisa Moyo? Or more recently, Chimama and Ngozi Adichie? Or Yagiansi? How many have? We have been made to believe that it's only Shakespeare and Charles Dickens that matter. The Osagiefo, to whom Africans owe an apology, wrote in his great book, Neo-Colonialism, the last stage of imperialism, and the most dangerous. We are in that stage. That stage when the colonizer still wants us to believe that our literature is inferior, that our science does not exist, that our mathematics does not exist, that we have no medicine to talk about, that we cannot mine beyond Galamsey, that we cannot extract our own oil, that we have no business being in robotics and cryptocurrency, that we must be consigned to the Museum of History alongside the spinning wheel, that we have no business being in the jet age. That is what we are being told. And my fear is that we appear to be believing it. If we are to give meaning to our independence, then education must be our focus. So said Ethiopia's Haile Selassie. If we want to change the continent of Africa, we must give meaning to education. So said Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere of Tanzania on that day. If we are going to change my little Senegal, we must give education priority. So said Leopold Sedar Senghor of Senegal. Even the complicit Félix Houphouët-Boigny in La Côte d'Ivoire believed so. When you see our judges dressing, they still dress like Father Christmas. Whoever told us that justice could only be administered when you dress like Father Christmas, I do not know. We live in a world where we are so mentally captured that those of you in the middle class, your greatest claim to fame is that my daughter can no longer speak Chui and is meant to be a badge of honor. It is a badge of complete colonial conquest. And we cannot enter the 21st century with that mindset. Go to the countries in the Scandinavia, which we can dare compare ourselves with. Go to Denmark, they teach in Danish. Go to Norway, they teach in Norwegian. Go to Sweden, they teach in Swedish. Go to Finland, they teach in Finnish. Go to Korea, they teach in Korean. Go to China, they teach in Chinese. Go to Japan, they teach in Japanese. Then they meet the world. But you and me, here I am waxing eloquent in English, not in Kiswahili. We must revamp our curriculum. I suspect you are either using Samsung or Huawei. What did China do 30 years ago? They made a decision that we are going to change our education system. And they changed the education system. They engaged in agriculture. They engaged in technology. They engaged in medicine. They engaged in everything. And today, China is the second strongest economy in the world, with a GDP of no less than 19 trillion United States dollars. The time is now for us to change our minds. Today, I'm saying that we cannot remain imprisoned in history and lamentation. That is why it is still true for you Ghanaians. Nkrumah is dead, but Nkrumah never dies.
When colonization happened, a lot of things happened. We must agree the fact that a lot of things happened. And lives changed because before the coming of the Europeans to Africa, Africans, like I'm talking about our ancestors, they were living their own life, the life they had used to be living. And then all of a sudden, everything was distracted. Everything was destroyed. And then a new life began. The life that was not really their life. when it comes to education, when it comes to religion, when it comes to like cultures and all that. Though I would say that the culture a little bit remained, but a lot of things were changed, and many things that were changed even after the going of the Europeans, these things did not came out of us. We still continue doing it, and that is why we normally say, and especially me, I say, the neo-colonization is still acting just like the colonization that happened a long time ago, okay? Because for many years, we have been crying about a revolution. We've been crying about liberating Africa. But the truth of the matter is, we cannot liberate Africa, we cannot liberate black people if we are not ready to actually decide to take away everything from the roots. Yeah? There is only one way we can be able to use to liberate Africa, because liberation starts with everything. Liberation starts with the culture that we are using. Liberation starts with the religion, yeah, the ways of worship, yeah. Liberation starts with education. Liberation starts with language. Liberation starts with everything. We must liberate even our minds, because as we are today, there are still minds in the midst of us that is still colonized. We still have colonized minds, yeah. Because you'd see somebody coming and telling me America is better than Africa. And I'm like, how is America better than Africa, even when the same America still needs Africa to survive? That's a colonized mind. And how can we liberate this colonized mind? Is for us to begin now creating awareness and walking around and trying to teach people and educate people on how Africa is, on the importance, on the greatness of Africa, on the greatness of the black people as a whole and all that. Because if at all we want to be free, we must first of all start by doing things that people don't expect they can act as a way or as a tool of colonization. Okay? Now, PLO Lumumba talks about something very fundamental here, and we need to be keen about it. We need to really listen to PLO Lumumba. He has been talking to African diasporans together with Africans, and he's really trying to educate us. You see, we are calling ourselves independent, yet we are still operating under the ideologies of a white man. We are calling ourselves independent. We are calling ourselves free nations. Yet we are still operating under the ideologies of a white man. How then can we call ourselves independent? How then can we consider, or rather declare ourselves independent? Or how then can we actually call ourselves free nation when we are still operating under the ideologies of a white man? Let's talk about an ideology like democracy. Democracy has been a smokescreen of lie for many years. And this so-called democracy has been a tool that a white man has been using to demoralize, to deceive, to manipulate a black person for many years. They talk about democracy, and the same democracy is not what they talk about. Like, is not what they say it is. If at all we have to talk about democracy, if at all we have to define democracy, according to its definition, it is something that is better, that if anybody follows it, it's going to save a lot of people. But the democracy that we are being pushed to follow is a democracy that does not work in our midst. Like, for example, we used to talk about the things that are happening in West Africa, in countries like Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. And we realized that the countries in ECOWAS were really pushing those countries to come back to ECOWAS. And they are saying that those countries are not following the rule of democracy. Yet the democracy they are trying to push to these people is a democracy that does not make any sense. It's a democracy that they want the president of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore, to take power back to the people. Because they say that it is people who have power. Yes, that is true. Democracy entails that people have power, and people are the ones to decide. That is right. I accept that. I am not against that. But now, let's understand one thing. If people have power according to what democracy entails, and therefore you are urging the president of Burkina Faso to take power back to the people, and the people of Burkina Faso, if the people of Burkina Faso say that we are well with this president and this is the leader that we want him to lead us, then also you should understand and say, because we are respecting democracy, we accept that. But why should a Western country like the United States of America use the West African leaders to push out their agendas using democracy? Now, they're not following what democracy says. They're only using democracy as an ideology to push their agendas. The agendas that these foreign countries want to be implemented to African countries. Okay? These are the things that have been happening. And we call ourselves free nations, we call ourselves independent nations, whereby, and yet we are still operating under a white man's ideology. PLO Lumumba speaking to black Americans and to Africans saying, we need to liberate ourselves, and for us to be able to liberate ourselves, we must start by everything. Listen, he said something very crucial. China are teaching their children using the Chinese. Koreans are teaching their children using the Korean language. Yeah? Turkey are teaching their children using the Turkish language. You see? And many other countries are teaching their children using their own language. But look at Africa. We are teaching our children using English language. English was not supposed to be our initial language. English right now is being used in many African countries as a national language. In West Africa, language that is being used to teach people is mostly French, and that is the national language in West African countries. Now, let me ask you a question. Are we going to call ourselves free nation if we cannot embrace our own local languages? If we cannot embrace our own languages from our own land? Are we going to call ourselves or to tell ourselves, to encourage ourselves that we are liberating Africa, yet we are still operating under the white man's ideology? We still want to work and use the cultures of a white man. We used to live better. We used to have a life before the coming of the Europeans. We used to have a life before the coming of the white men to a black country. Africa was a black man's country. Then a white man came from his own country to come to a black man's country to come and implement rules and make rules. I really find this speech from PLO Lumumba very wonderful and very excellent speech. A speech that I would urge everybody to listen to, because we are looking forward to liberate our continent, to liberate our people, the African Americans, the black Americans, the African people and their nations, to liberate them from the hands of a white man who has been colonizing Africa, who has been taking advantage of Africa for a very, very, very long time, who has been taking advantage of a black man for a very long time. Look at what has been happening to the African Americans in the United States of America for years. Oppression, for years, racism, for years, segregation. Now my question is, how can we then come about this issue? How can we call ourselves free once again? It's by starting to do away with a lot of things that is in our midst, a lot of things that we are doing that we were not supposed to be doing. Because that is the only way we can be better people. That is the only way we can be good people. That is the only way we can be super people. That is the only way we can live as a free people. People who can make their own decision. People who can run their own economy, because we aren't running our economy. Our economies are being run from outside. People who can be able to choose their own leaders, because as I'm talking to you right now, we do not have power to choose our own leaders. Our leaders are selected from outside. We are given leaders. We are lied to through following democracy. We are going to the ballot to vote into the government leaders who already were selected. So it doesn't matter which kind of a leader you choose, he'll not end up becoming your leader, because Leaders are selected from outside, and that is how we've been living for years. But we can get out of that through liberating ourselves. And by liberating ourselves, it starts from even liberating a colonized mind of individuals. People who think that it is until we go to America that you can be able to live a better life. It is until we go to America that you can be able to find green pastures. It is until we go to America that you can be able to vouch for further education. People like those ones have a colonized mind. What then do we need to do? We need to actually decolonize every colonized mind if we want to be better people, if we want to be good people, if we want to be wonderful people. That is the only way we can survive. We want people. It has been going on for many years, for a very long time. A time has come when there should be a change, because if there is no change, if this change is not in position, then we will continue suffering for the rest of our lives. Our children will ask us questions. Our children's will ask us a lot of questions. So, what did you do? What was what is it that you tried to do to make sure you're putting an end to all of this? Okay? Now, PLO Lumumba is talking about something very fundamental. We have to listen to him. Yeah? That video that's played for you is one of the best videos that I've come across today. One of the videos I wanted all of us to listen. Okay? Now, tell me what you think in the comment section. I will do my best to make sure I read all the comments and give a response where possible. Have your thoughts shared with me. Let me know what you have to say. Let me know what you think about it. It's going to be very interesting when I listen to you about this issue. Okay? Thanks for coming. Thanks for always being here. Do not forget to subscribe this channel. Be the first person to watch every video by pressing notification bell, and then it is going to be of a really, really great time with all of us. Thanks for always coming. I really appreciate. Until next episode, peace be with you.